Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are watching in the world. Sean Driver, the Red Horde, and this is the Who Are You series, where we take a look at the teams across League One that Wrexham is going to play, and we ask the questions of what's the team's history, what's the club's history, the town's history, the players, the gaffer, all of those things. And we try to put them out to you, the players who look out for. And then we, at the end, will compare the club, this time Burton Albion, to a UK food product. So that's what we do. That's what's in store. Stay tuned and we'll jump into it. If you're new here, well, you probably don't know what we do. Watch along parties, watch parties for all of the games. We'll be here for this one on Saturday morning, so come and join us for that. 57 countries, continuing to grow. It's a nice little community. You get to chat and engage yourself with the community. I like to think of ourselves as a gateway to the club for those who fall in love with the documentary. They're trying to get to understand, like, what's Wrexham all about, who are they playing, what are the other teams about. I want to get into the league. I like to think this is a gateway. Go to iFollow Wrexham, wrexham.afc.co.uk. Click on videos and get a membership and watch along and take in the game with us. A lot of fun. Other things that we do, the hors d'oeuvres, where we take a look at things that happen off the pitch and how they happen on the pitch. If you like this sort of stuff, like buttons down below. If you have seen many of these and you already know who I am, just sneak in a little like down there. Let the algorithm gods know that we're here. So we're talking about Burton Albion, and as always, the question is, let's jump into it. Burton Albion, here's the summary that we're going to go through for this one. The Brewers, built and based on the history of Burton-on-Trent, and their connection with the brewery industry. At one point in time, as if I read this correctly, and I assume that the facts are accurate, we'll just say it, at one point, 1/4 of the beer made in the UK came out of Burton. Don't know what percentage that is now, but obviously that was the hotbed. Brewers make sense. The Black and Yellow Army, they've traditionally been black and yellow, and there you go. Founded a more recent club, 1950, 76,720 in Burton-on-Trent. That makes it 18th largest as far as metropolitan areas go. As far as their history, interesting one in the sense, like I said, 1950, they started. It took them a while to climb up through the lower divisions. They ended up making the Conference North, and then they made the National League, and then they ended up being promoted. So that was 2008, 2009. They were promoted to the EFL. They were there from 2014, 2015 when they got their promotion. They actually won League Two that year, and then the following year finished second to get promoted right up into the championship, where they played 2 seasons before coming down into League One. So they've had a bit of a spike in their trajectory since 2014, 2015, and then the subsequent fall, and they've comfortably been in League One now for, I think this is their 7th year. Yes, 7th year, sort of in the middle of the table. Last year, finishing 20th, the last spot above relegation, and sort of saved it. They lost, Burton Albion did, to Fleetwood Town last year in the last game of the season, but they were saved because Stevenage did them a favor and beat Cheltenham Town, so Cheltenham Town went down. 2 points safe. They were last year, 20th, as you can see on the stats there. Our last game against them back in the EFL trophy, should you count the Papa John /Vertu /Bristol Motor /whatever EFL trophy. One take we do these in, so you're going to hear little things like that, but I'm just going to keep on rolling because, hey, time is of the essence. Turnover 6.1, it counts for nothing though. New owners, and we'll get into that in a little bit, but they were 17th last year in the league. As far as their profit loss, again, means nothing. New owners, but they lost £1.1 million 2022-2023 year ending. Social media, 236,718 across all major 5 social media networks. That's 3.3 million below Wrexham. So it gives you a perspective as to size, but capacity and attendance certainly also adds to that. Capacity of the Pirelli Stadium, 6,912, and they only got it 50% full last year to 3,419, and I believe they're even lower than that this year. down into the 2000s. And I don't know if that's a byproduct of new ownership and people having some extra support there for Ben Robinson, or whether that's because of poor performance and just getting exhausted with it, but it's been a struggle to get people in. As far as pitch dimensions, one of the smaller ones, again, if you haven't been here before, one of the surprises earlier this year was finding out that there's a vast difference in the pitch dimensions across the different stadiums and leagues in League One. Here, 110 by 72 yards, so that's 7,920 square yards. That's tied for 18th. All right, jumping into the season statistics then, noting one error on the graphic, and I'm not going to go about changing it, but it notes Exeter City, Lincoln City, and then it says Lincoln City again. That's obviously Barnsley, another 1-0 win. We keep getting the clean sheets, low-scoring games other than the Exeter one. Look, this one is interesting because when I looked at Exeter City, I saw holes. When I looked at Lincoln City, I saw holes. When I looked at Barnsley, I went, this one's going to be a tough one, and largely it was. It was a scratch it out in a 93rd minute screamer from Ollie Rathbone that ended up taking it, but listen, this one against Burton Albion is interesting because as we go through the stats subsequent to this slide that's on right now, you'll see they're not off the mark with respect to their stats. There's just one major problem. And we'll see how that transitions and what that looks like in game. Burton Albion, one of the teams I haven't watched an extra game of, so I don't have a sense for it. But you can go through goals for. We're 7th overall in the league. They're 21st, struggling to score. Goals against, we're first in the league. They're 21st. So that gives you an idea that obviously they're not scoring and they're allowing too many goals. That makes sense. Our away record, 2 wins, 3 draws, 3 losses. The scary part about that, while we're first overall in goals against, only 20th in goals for. We're just not finding the back of the net away. That hopefully is able to change, and that'll be the question here is what can we create against this Burton Albion team? For them, goals for at home, they're 23rd, so not much better, 8 goals, and their goals against at home, 21st. That's one of the lower in the league, and their home record, 1 win, 2 draws, 6 losses at home in Pirelli Stadium. Not good, but here, this is where the slide I was telling you about, and where things get interesting is when you look down their slide, they're mid-table all the way through until they get to FOTMOB X goals, but they've got accurate passes with a decent amount of possession at 50.1%. They've got relatively accurate crosses, middle of the table. Nothing screams, hey, you're bottom table sort of fodder here. But they just can't seem to generate offense. Their efficiency, not bad. We're 2nd overall in the league. We've slid down now from 41% down to 37%, and we've been passed by Wickham as far as our efficiency goes. But with their goals per shots on target, they're getting them. That's their efficiency at 28% mid-table. They're getting a decent amount of shots on target. Their save percentage, 70% to me, that's split once you start to get top of the table, top half of the table, about the 70% mark. So 68.5% is thereabouts 10th. So they're just, statistically, they don't smell bad. Here's what I'm interested in seeing, what this stats and the other ones look like when you look at it, is this is a team that from midfield to forward is just not connecting. And I think that's why they made a change. We'll get into it when we look at players to watch, why they made a change in personnel last week. I don't know what they're going to end up doing here, but they've got a problem. And I just hope they don't solve it by Saturday. Something's up between their midfield and their forwards. And if you're from Burton and you don't agree with that and you think it's something else, let me know. But defensively, it looks like you've got it. And the midfield passing and the connections that need to happen there look like they're there. It's just touches in the box and moving things forward. Something's missing. In any event, new official. You've never seen him before. Zach Kennard Kettle. Zach Kennard Kettle. I am stuttering today. Struggling. Anyways. He just had his EFL debut this year. He was doing National League stuff before that, and he was doing National League stuff after we had been promoted. So we've never had him before. He's done 1 game in League One. That one had 4 goals, and you look through the stats, exceptionally low at giving fouls, exceptionally low at giving yellow cards. And when I said this for the last referee, but this guy's legitimately bottom of the table. 55 referees used today. He's given just 1 game, small sample size, but the lowest amount, only 15, 10 less than what you normally give, and only 1 yellow card in that game when the season average is 4.25 across the referees in the league. No red cards, no penalties, and so Maybe just out for a jog on the pitch. I don't know. We'll find out. Zach Kennard-Kettle, not a lot of stats about him. Jumping into the details about where they are and what you can find out and all that sort of stuff. There is the travel time, the fifth closest tour that we're going to have to take this year over to Burton. Fleur Robinson took over from Ben Robinson, her dad, as CEO. That's why she left Wrexham. Familiar face as far as we're concerned in Wrexham. I went to her Twitter to try and get an update. It's all still Wrexham stuff. So no updates, no tweets, no replies. I don't know if she opened up a different account, but no details there from Fleur as to how things are going over at Burton. Look, they've got into new ownership. This is the Nordic Football Group. I'm not going to introduce them, but apparently they took 4 years researching as to which clubs they were going to buy. That puts them into the timeline that maybe they were looking at Wrexham as one of the identified teams that they were going to look for. Wouldn't that have been something else? But they've settled on Burton Albion. A podcast out there, Rob Ryan Red had theirs out, where they were talking with a fan from Burton who was looking new, invigorated ownership. Perhaps things would go up. Early reports are not positive. Then that may be because this man, Mark Robinson, man, the connections to the Robinsons, Fleur Robinson, Mark Robinson, he of Chelsea, who went to Burton Albion, signed this year in June, July to coach. He went on a 7-game winless streak across all competitions, and they ended up sacking him. They brought in Tom Housnell, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, Housnell. He from Fulham as the interim coach. He's found a couple of wins. He's pulled some points out, and things are maybe starting to look a little positive. The ownership group has come out in the media and said they're looking to sign him as the full-term replacement as coach. Just hasn't been announced as yet. And so that's this guy, Mr. Housnell. The kit. It's always the same. It's yellow and black. It's white or black as the away jersey. And the pinstripes may be something a little bit new. They haven't done that in a while, but that is the history of the kit. Not much to it. I wouldn't say that it's necessarily fancy. Tag, I didn't look up as far as where Tag is based, but not a shirt manufacturer that I am familiar with as to quality or style, but they're kind of ho-hum. They'll do. Nothing great, nothing horrible about it. What do? Before I get into this, I didn't bring the players' pictures up, so I'm going to have to hit pause and do that, and then come back, tell you about the players. You won't notice a difference, and then we'll carry on. And we're back, and you didn't even notice I was gone. Danilo Orsi, this man right here, 28 years of age, 6 goals of the 16 that they've scored, so he's about 40% of their total offense as far as a striker goes. An interesting background in history. Born in England, started his career in England, and then he went to the soccer hotbed of, and I'm going to have to read this even though it's in the United States, because I didn't even know it was a university. He played football for East Florida State College, so not really a hotbed of soccer, even in the United States. He then played for Chivas U19. Okay, that makes sense. Former MLS club, connected Guadalajara. That's a solid step up. And then he played NASL youth academy games for St. Lauderdale. He then goes back over to England. He starts lower division. He climbs his way up. He makes his way to Crawley that was promoted, and they purged their team, and so he was part of the cast-off. He led the team in scoring last year, 18 goals, 19 goals in 45 games. Comes over to Burton Albion after they let him go, and 6 goals. Worth having a look at. He didn't start in the last game, oddly, and we'll revisit that really quickly. I'm not sure exactly why that is. As I said, not connecting up front, but he's got 6 goals. He's the only person up there. So something, I don't know if it's midfield. We'll keep an eye on it, and we'll see what, I just don't get it. But it's interesting because there was an article here, Football League World was looking at Wrexham strikers about who is the January target identified to solve Wrexham striker woes. And they talked to a Wrexham fan named Liam Grice, and Liam Grice reportedly said that, for me, I think the player is Danilo Orsi at Burton Albion. He's got 8 goal involvements so far this season in a side that's been struggling. He knows how to put the ball in the back of the net, even if he's not getting that many chances created for him per game. I hope not. Liam, I don't want to shout out your Twitter when I end up being critical, but we're looking for £2.5 million. That's what we want. Danilo Orsi is old news. We're climbing. We want to do the Birmingham thing. If the team, the way I look at it is this, is if the team is near the top of the table come January window, which I hope that they are, because that means they've handled the softer part of the schedule a little bit. if they're in and thereabouts, it's time to spend some money. I'm not saying go full Birmingham and load up with 20 million quid, but it's time to put some players on before you hit the championship. And when that 3-year rolling average of how much you can spend and go the other way comes into play, you're going to want to get ahead of the game a little bit here. And that's not an invigorating signing for me. We'll come back to why he didn't start and who his replacement was. But this is another name as far as interesting. Max Crocombe, born in Auckland, then moved to England, raised playing football in England, went back down under to Australia, but close enough, I guess. Well, not if I lived in New Zealand, not close enough. Played in Australia and then came back. And so he has had a long vaulted history playing internationally and within England, and with a cup of coffee down there. He grew up in Milton Keynes. And so he's been there for a while. 68.5% save percentage. He's not doing poorly. He's not doing great. He is your average experienced KG veteran goalkeeper. Hey, we got one of those. Howard, who's going to be starting for us. So it'll be an interesting matchup in goal. This is the guy that they started, Runen Burrell. Not much to say about him except he's 23 years of age. I'm sort of surprised that they've swapped out their leading goal scorer for him in the last match, and I looked for injury stuff and didn't see it. Obviously, it didn't work out for them. I don't know what we're going to end up seeing. These guys are confusing. Burton Albion, the stats belie what their output should be. The management decisions don't fit with what you would consider traditional, and it confuses me as much as this thing does. The Jammy Dodger. The Burton Biscuit Company, the creator of, or purchased the creator of, the Jammy Dodger, a treat that's basically shortbread cookies with a jam-filled interior. I don't get it. I think it's garbage. It's confusing. It's whatever, but people love it. And I don't know, does that fit with Burton? Confusing. It doesn't make any sense to me. This from a guy who says he puts Clamato juice in his beer. Take it for what it's worth. Look, I'm going to do a score prediction really quickly. We don't score goals. They're not going to score goals. If they do, it's a draw, because this will be a low-scoring 1-0 special. We're going to have to create. It's not really what we do. They can't connect. As long as Howard can stop the infrequent shots that he has, because I think they will be infrequent, then we should have this one under wraps. Look, if you agree with me, cool. Comments down below. If you disagree with me, even better. Comments down below. Hit the like button if you like this stuff. We will be here Saturday to get out more. I'm going to have to package this a little bit more because I screwed up by not getting the player stuff ready, but it should be one that we end up taking down, but I don't think this is going to be a thumper by any stretch of the imagination. The stats belie that from happening. Sean Driver, the Red Horde, thanks for being here with us. Take care, have a good one, and see you on Saturday.